Hello, this is Ryan Reisert, your host. This is going to be a very different podcast series than anything you've experienced on the market. What I'm trying to do is change things up a little bit. Rather than having a special guest and one topic with great conversation that goes away, we're going to host a series of experts and others who have perspective on different topics over a period of time. Gather that in a series of episodes and roll that out until we've really exhausted a topic. So hopefully you enjoy this podcast, and thanks again for listening in.
All right, really excited for our next guest on this topic. Rachel May, a sales gal. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Rachel May, a sales gal at A Sales Guy Consulting. So I work with Keenan, and we help salespeople not suck at discovery by implementing a problem-centric sales process.
Yes. So super excited for this conversation because I'm obviously a big fan of Keenan and gap selling and all the stuff that you're doing today. But even before gap selling, I've loved what he does at A Sales Guy. And your perspective on some of these things will bring some light to a few of these questions. So we'll get right into it. And this will be an interesting one right out the gate. Do you believe in this rise of this new revenue intelligence or coaching culture that you see, this movement that you see people talking about?
I mean, sure. I am all for anything that helps salespeople be more awesome. So I think, when you look at like the idea of like revenue intelligence, right? What you're really looking at is having visibility and really like diagnostic tools to figure out what's working and what's not working. And before those tools became available, I know you hate the word tools. Before those tools became available, everyone was just shooting in the dark, right? They were just guessing as to what was going wrong. It's kind of like how you used to take like your car into the mechanic, and he would have to like take the whole car apart to try and figure out what was broken. And then half the time you might find one thing, but it's not the main thing that was causing your car to break down.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, like you would end up fixing the wrong thing or not being able to find the problem, right? So to me, like the revenue intelligence side is that same the ability to like plug, whatever that thing is that they plug in to your computer. There's like, oh, here's all the things that are wrong. Now, here's the thing. After you do that, the car's still broken. It's not fixed anymore. It's not fixed yet. It's still broken. And I think that's where we go wrong with revenue intelligence, because now we have all this data, but we're not really using it effectively to diagnose and then create like a plan of action to fix the car. And that's where the coaching piece comes in. So I don't know if there is some big movement as it relates to sales coaching. I know there is in our world, right? But like internally, I don't know how much that is actually happening for salespeople still at this point.
That was a really good visualization. I just love that going into, get my car fixed. And it's like, I didn't think that was the problem, but you just identified something else. And I think that's, one of the challenges that we have with all this data is, what do you actually pay attention to for getting to where you need to be tomorrow? And to your point, is there really a movement here? Who's taking accountability, right? Is it the reps? Is it the management? So, why do you think, you said maybe you don't see the movement, but why do you think this is starting to catch fire now, especially in tech companies?
I mean, I think why it's starting to catch fire is because like we have a crisis. So even when you look at like pre-COVID days, right? Like the majority of salespeople aren't making quota on a regular basis. Churn is higher than it's ever been. And, win rates are declining. Average sales price is declining. So, there's all these numbers that they did have that everyone already had. And we're measuring through maybe their CRM or whatever, but what they didn't have is the why. right? And so people were trying to find out what the why was. And a lot of times what happens when you're doing that without actual data and visibility is you start just making a lot of assumptions, right? So whenever I would have a sales team where they were not booking enough meetings or not winning enough like new business, and I would go to that sales leader and I would say, what's going on, right? Because my job I was a sales coach, so my job was to come in and fix it. And it would always be the same thing. It'd be like, I think they're lazy. I don't think they're making enough calls, right? Like, I think they just kind of suck, right? There was like nothing tangible that was based on what we call observable moments, right? And so you can't help someone be better at their job if you can't see them in the moment doing their job. There's just no way that you can diagnose what's going wrong and create any type of coaching plan to fix it, because at the end of the day, if you didn't see it, then you're just guessing.